for allowing us to share this perspective with you here and now. And in return for the gift that you are giving us, I ask, in what way may we be of service to you now? You may begin your interactions if you wish.
Hello.
Good day.
Well,
Speak up, and be bold so that all may hear what you have to share.
I guess there's no direct question I
All
have.
right, that's all right.
Just
you can make a statement.
That's what I felt that I needed to do. It's just everything that came to this point right now is just synchronistic, I guess.
You guess?
Best way. No, I don't.
You know.
I know.
Thank you.
It's,
you don't have to guess. You can know. It's all right to know.
Right. You're right.
You don't have to worry that just because you know something that you're going to have to consider yourself to be exercising the negative ego.
Right. That's actually...
It doesn't have to be an egotistical thing to know what you know.
Right.
It's also, in that sense, to keep it balanced, to know that there are things that you don't.
Okay.
But that's all right. You will know what you need to know when you need to know it. That's what synchronicity is about. You don't need to know certain things a second before you need to know them. But if you trust synchronicity, you won't know them a second later than you need to know them either.
Right.
Make sense?
Yes, it does.
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
All right.
I guess maybe I don't. Maybe I'll know it exactly when I need to. But
and when will that be?
When it occurs, I guess.
Yes, the answer is, I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes we are asked the question, Bashar, is there anything you don't know? My answer is, I don't know.
Yeah. It's funny, I take that in, and there's a lot of times that I don't know, and it feels like I know the exact answer, but then I ask myself, is that what I really know, or is that just something I've copied off somebody else?
That's all right.
It's kind of a mix.
Something that you learn from someone else can still be something that is important for you to know.
Right. I guess it is.
You guess?
Another thing. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yes.
Same ego issue.
Yes. Is that a magazine? The Ego Issue.
Oh. And could be in my mind, I guess.
All right.
See? It's I'm lost in the moment, and
you are found in the moment.
Found in the moment.
If you stay in the moment, you are never lost. It is when you go out of the present that you become the experience of being lost. Notice we said the experience of being lost, because you never actually can be lost, because you can only be here and now, but you can create an experience as if you were not. But it's only an experience. If you know that, then you can never be lost. You will always be your own breadcrumb.
I understand.
That leads you back home.
Simplest thing to say is just be.
Yes, be who you are. Act, think, feel, believe, be who you prefer to be. Thought, word, and deed, as you say. At every moment that you can, to the best of your ability. It's all you have to be.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes, it does.
Does this help?
It does.
Anything else?
I want there to be.
You want there to be something else?
Yes.
Well, here's something else. Here's something else. Here's something else. Here's something else. Here's something else.
Okay.
There's always something else.
Yeah.
And?
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Bashar.
And you, good day.
Thank you. Good day. I think I have to let to sink in what we have been talking about this
All right, let it sink in.
I have so many definitions about human metabolism and so many information within myself that are a bit contrasting with themselves, and I'm experiencing something that
it's all about how you define
I do not
things.
like. So.
All right, so let it sink in. Have fun with it.
Okay.
Redefine your reality in the way that you prefer to.
Okay.
All right?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I was wondering if you could help me with a little issue and clarify a few things for me.
Well, I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. Normally, I'm pretty good at manifesting and following my
Pretty
higher joy.
good. Pretty good.
Normally pretty good. Not perfect by any means, but
What is perfect?
I imagine perfect would be doing it all the time consistently.
But you are doing it all the time. You're manifesting all the time.
creating my highest joy all the time.
Ah, I see. But that's just a choice. Why would you choose anything else?
Well, that actually brings me to my next
Ah,
point.
thank you.
I have a fear that I can't seem to kick in terms of the way the economy is going, the collapse of the dollar, the way the stock market's going, and it seems like a pretty big thing that for some reason it affects me.
For some reason?
For some reason.
But you're creating the reason. It comes from a belief that you have. Remember that all emotions stem from beliefs. You can't feel something without believing something to be true first.
It's hard for me to believe that following your highest joy will, if the dollar collapsed and the economy collapsed,
yes,
it's hard for me to believe that following my highest joy would still get me through that even.
All right. Well, thank you for being honest. That's where it starts. Now, obviously you don't prefer that belief, yes?
Correct.
Incorrect. If you didn't prefer it for some reason, you wouldn't hold on to it. So what you have to do is find out why you're defining that belief as something you prefer over the alternative. Because we know you say you prefer to believe something else, but as long as you're believing what you're believing, obviously you've attached the kind of belief to it that makes it appear to be the preferential belief, or you would believe something else, because none of you, for a split second, believe anything you don't prefer to believe. This is how the motivational mechanism works in you. You all have the same mechanism. You will always move in the direction of what you define to be in your best interest. You will always move away from what you define to not be in your best interest as a belief. So if you hold on to something you say you don't prefer, but you hold on to it, you keep choosing it, you keep choosing to buy into it, somewhere there's another belief attached to that one that for some reason makes it seem to be the thing you're motivated to keep choosing. You have to find out what that definition is that you've attached to it that makes it seem the more likely, the more beneficial choice than what you say you want but aren't choosing. So let's explore that.
Okay.
Sometimes, just to give you a head start, just to give you an example of how these things generally occur in the psychology of many Earth humans, is that even though they know they prefer something, they are afraid to move in that direction because they have been taught to have a greater fear of the unknown. And so even though they don't prefer what they keep choosing, it's familiar. And to them, they define familiar as better than, more beneficial than unknown. So as long as you have that definition attached in that way, you will never go toward what you don't know and always hold on to what you do know, as painful as it might be. Once you know you have done that, once you can find out what that definition is you've attached to the unknown, then you will identify it, you will see it has nothing to do with you, because any negative belief, every negative belief that you discover, that you identify, once you identify it, once you bring it from unconscious into conscious recognition, negative belief will always appear nonsensical and illogical because it doesn't fit with your natural vibration. That's why it's so important to identify beliefs, because once you identify it, once you bring it into the light, you will see it doesn't belong to you, that it came from your parents, it came from your family, it came from your society, it came from your friends, and you bought into it. But it isn't yours. Holding on to something that isn't yours is called theft. Don't be a belief thief. Let go of what isn't yours. But the only way to know it isn't yours is to identify what it is, so that you will see it doesn't belong to you. And once you know it doesn't belong to you, you'll drop it. You understand?
I do.
Is this helping?
It actually brings up an awareness.
Oh, thank you. And what is that awareness?
Imagining the destruction of the economy would, on some level, be more comfortable to me than imagining the unknown of what would be sort of the perfection beyond that. Or
well,
through
there
that.
you go. Now, understand that what you call your economy is arbitrarily based anyway, isn't it?
Sure.
Isn't it just by your agreement
Sure.
that it works at all? Isn't it just an imaginary game? This is worth that. Okay. Didn't it used to be rocks and bones and stones and feathers and beads and all sorts of things? Now it's coin and paper, so it's just arbitrary. It's just what you agree to. A more solid economy would be basing it on the people themselves, their skills and abilities, and what they have to contribute to society. You'll get there. But the point is you don't have to worry about the collapse of the old system, because that's what needs to happen if you're going to have new systems. The trick is to create the new systems now so they will be in place when the old ones crumble of their own dead weight, because they no longer serve you. So seeing them start to break up and dissolve is actually cause for celebration, because it means you're on the verge of allowing yourself to know that there are new systems you can implement. But the point is, take action and make those new systems. Invent them, create them, be creative, be active, take action for its own sake. Again, not as a means to an end. For its own sake, because it excites you to do so. If it excites someone to invent, to create, to talk about, to share ideas of new economic systems just because that's what excites them, then that's what's going to create the new systems, and the synchronicity will take care of the timing. The new systems, when you have exciting people doing things because they're excited about it, just because they're excited about it, the timing will take place within the synchronicity automatically, and the new systems will be where they need to be, when they need to be there, when the old systems no longer serve you. That's how it works. It's automatic. It already works. You don't have to make it work. Just let it work. By going with the flow of it. By being who you really are. In a sense, by dragging your heels and not allowing yourself to believe that you will be supported in another way, just as you have been supported by this arbitrary idea. If you can be supported in your life by such an arbitrary, imaginary idea, why can't you be supported by another one? That's actually even more concrete, because it's based on you, the true you, instead of the arbitrary one, instead of the arbitrary definition. Does that make sense?
Yes, definitely.
Is this sinking in?
Yes, definitely. That
You are supported all the time by creation anyway. If you weren't, you wouldn't exist. Why not simply allow yourself to know that whatever you decide to be supported, in whatever way you prefer to be supported, you'll be supported that way? Creation, in that sense, does not make that decision for you. It supports you in whatever way you say you believe you can be supported. So if you've been supported all this time, according to whatever belief systems you had at that time, by such an arbitrary, ephemeral, smoke and mirrors idea of economy, how can anything else be even more insubstantial?
Very good point.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Look through the illusion and understand that what you're shifting to is how to use the power of the illusion instead of succumbing to the illusion of power. You see the difference?
Mm-hmm.
Use the power of the illusion. Don't fall under the negative ego assumption of the illusion of power. Does that help?
Yes, definitely.
Do you understand that you are all totally abundant?
Yes.
That's your natural state. You are supported unconditionally, totally, every second. Again, if you weren't, you wouldn't exist. The idea is that there really is actually no such thing as lack in the way that you typically define it. So let's go back to that idea of definition. What you experience when you create the experience called lack, what you're creating is an abundance of lack. So if you have an abundance of lack, why not have an abundance of something you prefer? because it's all abundance. It's just different kinds of abundance. You are never not abundant. You just have an abundance of lack when you experience the idea you call lack. It's not actually a lack of abundance. It's an abundance of lack. Most of the things on your planet you have backwards. For example, seeing is believing. No, believing is seeing. You see?
Yes.
You believe?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. By the way, when you allow yourselves to be in the moment in the way we discussed earlier, and give a clear and precise definition to every experience for its own sake as its own experience, you develop what you are perceiving in us at this point, which is that when we talk about these principles, we have an abundance of conviction. There is not what you call one shadow of a doubt in our minds that these things work. We know they work because they work for us. They can work for you. It requires the same degree of conviction that you know they work. And it is more easily had, this conviction is more easily experienced when you stop linking things together in continuity that don't need to be linked as a means to an end. When you truly understand the power of remaining in the present and defining everything that's happening as the only thing that needs to be going on right now, and it's leading you to nothing else, you will feel the power of that conviction. You will know and truly understand what we're talking about. Make sense?
Yes.
All right. Proceed.
Good day, Bashar.
And a you good day.
It's so good to see you again.
Well, you are not seeing me, but I understand the sentiment. Thank you.
See in quotes.
Speak up so that all may hear what you have to share.
So I have a question about how I'm experiencing what you were talking about earlier. The example that popped into my mind was of how I had really wanted to see a UFO.
Yes.
And I went to an event. It was maybe 3 nights long or something like that.
Yes.
And each night we would go outside and people who knew about these things would attract the UFOs, and people in the crowd there were constantly saying, "Oh, look there, I see one. Look there, I see one."
That is not always the case.
That they see them?
Yes. Sometimes it is. Sometimes they just think they do, but they don't.
Okay, that's certainly plausible.
Yes.
And what?
And by the way, I've seen hundreds of UFOs. No big deal. Seen one, seen them all. Well, all right, not really. But it's not really anything special, is what we're saying. You don't have to make a big deal out of it.
All right, thank you. But
look. A car. Wow. Headlights and everything. It's a car. Yes, they're fun. Yes, they have their own uniqueness, but you know, a car by any other name, UFO, spaceship. Well, what it represents to you is what you're focused on.
yes.
But that's all within. The whole idea is that the idea you call a UFO, of course, if you recognize it as a spacecraft, it becomes an IFO,
Right.
is all about the idea of your ability to simply transfer yourself to a vibrational state and get a reflection, in a sense, that shows you are in a different reality. But again, you can't base it conditionally on the idea of knowing you're in a different reality by waiting for the reflection. You have to know you're in a different reality. Then you'll just get the reflections when they are appropriate to appear. But you can't use the idea of seeing something like that as proof, in a sense, that you're in a different state of being, because then you're making that state of being conditional on the exterior reality experience, instead of just declaring that that's your state of being, which is what you say you prefer to be in. Make sense?
It does. And
Yes.
I'm wondering and guessing that this is related to the feeling that I get before something like this happens.
Yes.
In that particular instance, at first I was sort of pushing myself. I was trying to force it. I was trying to force the
Yes.
experience.
Yes.
And I could feel that this was not the way to go.
All right.
And one evening, before we were getting ready to go outside, the host of this event conducted a puja and a ceremony of fire, blessing, and so forth.
Yes.
And it's something that I really resonate with.
All right.
And I immediately felt myself just have this peaceful sense.
Yes.
And I remember thinking, oh, I bet this is one of Bashar's permission slips.
Yes, they all are.
And when we went outside, I just had this feeling of acceptance of whatever was going to happen or not happen was going to be fine.
All right.
It would all happen in right timing.
Yes, have fun with it. That's the point.
And it was fun, especially when I experienced it, because it was better than I expected.
There you go.
And
Higher mind can bring you something the physical mind may not yet have really been capable of imagining. Can bring it to you in a much greater way than the physical mind may have been capable of imagining. That's why it's important to allow the higher mind to do that and not insist that it has to turn out a specific way as what your physical mind was only capable of imagining, because the physical mind is limited in what it can imagine. But the higher mind is not.
I remember you're saying that before.
Yes.
And that certainly was the case that night.
Yes.
And the experience was better also. It was way better also, because it helped me to understand the concept of that feeling, the
Yes.
feeling that I get.
Yes.
And so that was what I wanted to talk about, because I've had the feeling where it just feels like this is going to happen and I don't have to do anything. And I'm certainly not going to try to force it, because
No, well, it's not that you don't have to do anything. You don't force it, but you simply allow the behaviors and the actions to be expressions of the state of being that you're in. So whatever it is then you do is an expression of that state of being. But the actions thus then grounded in physical reality show, in a sense, the reflection of the physical universe, show up in the reflection of the physical universe, that you are committed to that state of being. That's what the behavior shows, that you're committed, that you're truly in that state of being, because the behaviors follow naturally by being in that state of being. So it's not that you do nothing in terms of activity, but you don't force it. Yes.
okay. And so in that instance, I allowed it to proceed.
Yes.
Allow is not even the right word.
I understand, but it's a good enough word.
Okay. All right. So I've had that experience of the feeling of this is going to happen and it's natural, which I guess could be another.
This is happening. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how something is going to happen. What your physical mind is capable of perceiving is what is happening
That's
now.
right.
Bring it into the present, not going to happen. Happening now.
Okay. Oh, so that's what the feeling is saying.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Remember, when we talked about the idea of prayer, prayer is not asking for something that's not here now. Prayer is being in a state of gratitude that it already is. Then you can see it. That's manifestation. That's
Okay.
what prayer is. That's why it's important to keep prayer in the present rather than, I want this to happen. It's going to happen. You're removing yourself from the present. And when you're not at present, you're not at home, then whatever it is you are attracting can't find you. Because you're not here. Ding dong, hello, knock knock. Nobody home. Oh well, guess we can't deliver this wonderful fruit basket.
So that's what's meant by the example of, I'm not going to pray for rain, I'm going to pray rain, and that's
Yes.
by feeling it right now.
Yes.
Okay.
You shift yourself then to the vibrational parallel reality in which it's already raining.
Okay.
All the programs already exist. All the versions of Earth you could possibly imagine already exist. When you change your vibration, you shift to the parallel reality that already reflects the vibration you've changed to, where it's already raining.
Yes.
Get the difference?
Yes. Yes.
Does that help?
It does help. Thank you.
Thank you for becoming your own flying object.
May I ask a question that is related but is also slightly off topic?
I don't know, can you?
Well, let's give it a try.
Don't try, just ask.
All right, thank you. So I have a question about this feeling state.
Yes.
Now that I'm more aware of it,
Yes.
It really is a trip.
Oh, all right, yes.
So I have the feeling state also around the concept of some of the, I guess they call them the Council of Nine. This is the way I've heard it described.
It is a euphemism for a collection of certain kinds of consciousness, yes. Existing in another dimensional level from your own, yes.
Okay. And my understanding from some recent experiences is
Yes.
that they include the so-called Anunnaki.
No.
Okay. So that's part of my question is, how far do I go with this idea? Because you talked yesterday about the Interstellar Alliance.
Yes. There are many different interstellar alliances.
Okay.
We have our own, there are others.
Well, they use a term which at a previous event,
Yes.
I remember somebody asked a question about the Galactic Federation and you said what? And he said Galactic Federation and you said what?
I wasn't saying what to that.
Oh.
We were saying what to the way it was phrased to put him back in touch with the fact that he was, in a sense, being out of the present with the way it was being asked.
Oh.
We understand what is meant by Galactic Federation.
Right, but the way this is described,
Yes.
it sounds like it's a specific body of beings.
It can be seen and experienced that way. The idea, again, is that all these things are symbols. It's your symbol that represents that level of consciousness. If that symbol works for you, allows you to relate to it in a way that's fun for you, that's exciting for you, use it. But they don't see themselves that way. That's all we're saying. It's a symbol that works in your language, in your reality. So use it if it works for you to form a relationship. That's all right. The reason we say that the Anunnaki are not involved is because the energy that you have labeled in your society as Anunnaki no longer exists in the way that it used to in terms of your space-time linearity. So even though there is a consciousness connected to what you're calling the Council of Nine that could be said to be peripherally connected to what used to be the Anunnaki, it's no longer Anunnaki. But it contains that idea. But we wish to be more specific so as to not mislead you in terms of the symbology and the definitions that your society has given to it. From our perspective, it was, in that sense, not an accurate description of the energy as it actually exists now.
Okay.
Does that help you?
It does. Okay, but if I might take this slightly further. So I'm considering doing some work with some people, some personal healing work.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
Why are you just considering it instead of doing it?
Well, I actually have done it once, and
Then you are doing it.
well, I'm not sure if I want to do it again.
Then don't. Why is this so difficult? There is nothing mysterious about this. I don't prefer to do this again. Okay, don't.
Well, the work I
Oh,
like,
now I prefer to do it again. Okay, do it.
it's the idea of individuals
Yes.
who are non-corporeal entities who are
Yes.
said to be in the room, including one who is said to be one of these, the council or...
Let me make this clear for you.
Okay.
If you just look at all this as symbology that is representative of information that you prefer to attract, just look at it as symbology regardless of what you consider to be the reality. Because it's only the symbology you're going to experience in your reality anyway. Do you understand this? You're creating your symbol in your reality out of your energy. Even if another being, as you say, is really there, the only way you can perceive another being is to create a symbol of that being in your reality out of your energy so that you can form a relationship to that symbol that represents that energy so you can identify with it. So just look at everything as symbolic and just take it for what it means to you and use it in the way that you prefer. And don't spend time, would be our suggestion, wondering if it's real. The symbol is real enough for the energy and the information it contains if it has relevance for the work you have decided to do. Just use it as relevant information. And don't focus so much on the idea of exactly whether or not the source is quote-unquote real. It's all real in one context, but the only part of it you're experiencing anyway is your symbol of it. That's what you're interacting with. It's a reflection. So take out of it what you will. Leave what doesn't work for you and move forward. Does that make sense? Does that help clear up the idea?
It does, and it helps me to understand that what I must be doing is creating, because I had that feeling again.
Yes.
Because I won a raffle at a meeting.
All right.
And the raffle was for this energy healing.
All right.
And at first I thought, well, this is going to be nice, but it's probably just mainstream massage, but I'll go with it and see what happens.
Then why did you choose to win it if it was just mainstream massage?
Well, it didn't turn out to be that at
Oh,
all.
what a surprise. Yes. You mean you could actually learn to trust yourself and trust your synchronicities? Oh no, what a tragedy.
It turned out way better than that.
Oh, what a surprise. That would be a very good motto for you all.
Oh, what a
It
surprise.
always turns out way better.
Oh, yes.
It always turns out way better. It always turns out way better than I ever imagined. It always does.
Yes, I like that one.
Oh, all right. You can use it. I'll give you permission.
Thank you so much, Bashar.
Thank you.
I love you.
Our unconditional love to you as well.